Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm here with something that's pretty special to me. So this Alpha Mana short, I purchased it off of eBay in October, and we are now April, the 10th of April, and I'm finally opening this. Hey, look at that. Yeah, you definitely couldn't fake that sort of thing. You could put that right back down. I didn't even try. I could use these like non-tamper labels. Tell me what you think if you from eBay if you're buying any stuff that has these, authentication labels on them. I feel so. I mean, I don't think anyone would fake it from eBay, but a secondary market seller could definitely. I wasn't even careful. I took that off almost perfectly. I think that somebody that's pretty easy to redo. Anyways, back to the real reason I'm here. This man is short. What was it? It would have been the year before. I started seriously considering putting in and building an Alpha 40 deck. And the main reason for that, you might laugh, is I bought a small collection and in it was an Alpha Soul Ring. And I thought, oh, well, that's like the best Soul Ring. That's the one I'm going to play with. That's amazing. Or I could sell it and get a more reasonably priced Soul Ring, an unlimited, collector's edition, maybe a beta even. But I didn't really want to. Like that Alpha card felt really special, and I don't know if it was my first that I ever owned. I don't think it was, but it was definitely the first good Alpha card I ever owned. And it's kind of stuck with me. And I started thinking, Soul Ring. I'm only 39 cards away from an Alpha 40 deck. Like, how crazy is that? Like, that obviously makes perfect sense to everybody. I'm only 39 cards away. I'm almost there. I might as well just start now. So I started to think, well, I'll put together a budget Alpha 40 deck. I just want to play with these guys. I got to hang out, and I've been on the Alpha 40 Facebook group and then later on the Discord group. And they are some of the nicest people you could ever hope to meet. They're all playing with Alpha cards, but it's like crazy down to earth. It's lots of fun. Everybody's just having a good time. Having a good time is the way I describe that group the best. Anyways, so I have my deck. My Alpha deck is complete. It took me almost a year to complete that Alpha deck. It didn't end up being extremely budget. I'm going to show it to you in this video. But all the same, this was the last card missing from it because it just took quite a while to get here. And now it's here. And I'm also super curious because I bought this as a 6, right? PSA 6. And I don't know why this is so poorly graded. I'm starting to see like a little smudge here. And there's a little bit of whitening in this corner. Maybe it is worthy of a 6. Maybe that's not better than a 6. But, it's pretty clean overall. So maybe there's something I'm not seeing right now. So I'm going to crack this on camera. For those who want to see how I would crack a case, I'm going to show you. And I'm going to sleeve it up. I'm going to show you guys my Alpha deck. It's going to go in it. We could discuss my Alpha deck for a minute because I'm tempted to make some changes because since I completed that one, I've actually gotten some more cards and maybe I'm going to take it in a different and better direction. All right. PSA cases are very thin compared to other ones on the market. They're much thinner than the BGS. And CGC is also a little thicker. These are one of the, not the trickiest to crack, but let me show you how I do it. I like to get a bag first off because when you snip this, it's going to create a lot of shrapnel, and I might as well just catch it in the bag that I'm going to put into the garbage anyway. It's going to become my garbage bag. So I'm going to grab it. See the top corner here? I'm going to grab it like this in the end cutters. I'll put it down in the bag, and I picked a clear bag so you can see what's going to happen. I'm just going to crush this. There you go. No problem. And then I'm going to just kind of, because it's in the bag and I've chosen a clear bag, I can also just continue along. I'm not hurting anything. And just take off the whole top. My goal in this is to get the whole top off without damaging even the label. And then I'll fish out the label and finish with the card. And these cases, compared to other ones, they don't really crack like in a big way. They just crack very gradually, like you might be noticing. So that's something else. The other ones, sometimes they crack kind of explosively and the whole thing just kind of falls apart, but not with the PSA ones. They just bit by bit. So got that side. I'm gonna get this side here. I'll maybe take one more bite over here. There, go. And get into that. I'll see if I have enough to start getting in to the case itself. Oh yeah, definitely. Now actually, you see I could even start to like just physically pull it apart. But I'm probably going to be a little more careful now. I'm going to just open it up, see if I can just get the label to come out. What would have been helpful is tweezers. Let's see, do I have a pair that my kids haven't stolen yet? Not looking promising. Oh, here we go. This will do. On the floor. Okay. So I'm going to grab that label. Nope. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push the label deeper. There you go. Got it out, mostly undamaged. I can live with that. Actually, yeah, it's undamaged, just plastic on it. Okay. So now we've gone that far. I'll take over to the second part, which is we're going to put our screwdriver into the label, into the case. And I'm just going to work. It's going to be quite easy. See how I have the screwdriver now? I'm just going to work this screwdriver down the whole thing. What I want to be careful of now is that I don't open the case and have it reclose on the card. That would be pretty bad. So I'm going to be conscientious of not letting the case close on the card. So I'm just going in here, see how I'm wiggling the screwdriver back and forth? That's really the motion that you want to do. So you want to take it, roll it like this, come on down. And it's like I say, it's left a bit of a jagged edge, so it's going to be trickier. Maybe I can get on the other side here. Yeah, a little bit, there we go. Let's go like that. Almost the way this thing is broken, I'm actually tempted to just give it a pull and just pop this apart in one smooth motion. I think I can. So here goes nothing. Let's do this. Only live once, right? There we go. Sometimes that's the way to do it. This was one of those times. The way this edge was breaking, it was PSA doesn't work as well sliding the screwdriver down, so sometimes this is what you do. But the CGCs and the BGSs, you can usually just slide your screwdriver because of the way it cracks. It really separates in the middle. PSA has this, like, basically the part that gets sonic welded is this part on the outside, and this cracks and is the most brittle part. So it leaves this jagged edge, and you're trying to go, and it's just a little bit jumpy, and I don't like that. So I did what I did. I opened it enough that I could pry it open. And that worked like a charm. But the other ones, the other cases, I would actually suggest running the screwdriver down this edge, and it'll be much easier. You can just go around and pop it like at your leisure, and it works really well. All right, into the bag with you. Take this guy. Got it. Cool. So I've not played this deck actually ever on the Alpha 40 Facebook group either, because I've always been this one card short, and it always kind of bothered me knowing for, you know, the last little while that I have it, but I'm not able to put it in my deck yet. So let's have a look and see what's up with this card. It looks really good, actually. I mean, really good alpha card. Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it was graded a little bit low. Like this arguably could have been a 7. I'm not really seeing a lot of problems with it, to be honest. Yeah, I feel like maybe this was a bit undergraded. Maybe the guy was not in a generous mood that day. This corner is by far the worst thing on it. There's like a little tiny dot up here. The smallest bit of corner white there. The smallest bit, there's like a little bit here. So yeah, maybe the guy just wasn't feeling in a very generous mood that day. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not putting it back into that. I'm putting it into a different type of plastic. The old double sleeve. Damn, that feels kind of cool. Putting in the last piece of this deck, and then I'll show you my deck. If anyone here is ever interested in playing Alpha 40 and you don't have all the cards, you know, you can still make inexpensive decks. You'd be surprised. You can make a decently fun to play and good deck for maybe about $600 still. $500-600. The prices on Alpha have come down a lot in the last few years, and they're kind of, you know, I'd say they're actually underpriced for what they are. But yeah, so there you have it. That's in here. And now we'll have a peek at the rest of the deck. So in the meantime, on the Discord group, which is where I play, They allow you to play, I think it's like 6 proxies a month. So I threw in this collector's edition mana short, which I had, to take the place of this one. So satisfying. All right, let's lay it on out. Okay, so I got my Chaos Orb Alpha. Volcanic Eruption, purely a spicy card. We're just going to get into this right away. I don't think this is the best card in my deck, and I'll show you some better ones I have now. And it wasn't a cheap card either, but it's a fun card because it says destroys X mountains of your choice and does X damage to each player and each creature in play. So one of the coolest things I think about Alpha is that the rules are not exactly the same as the modern rules. They take the cards as written and try to make interpretations using the original Alpha rules book to decide how things will play out. And that has interesting consequences. One of the cool ones is that in all the other editions, Beta and Unlimited and all the other reprints, the white border reprints, you have to have mountains in order to cast a spell. There have to be mountains you're destroying, and then you deal that damage. But in this version, because it says and does the damage, instead of, it doesn't say in any way that you need those mountains. It says it destroys the mountains of your choice, but you could choose none. So first part is mountains of your choice. You can choose none, and it does this damage. So they're not tied to each other. So you get to destroy mountains only as a bonus purely, which is kind of good because red is a bit of out of control in Alpha 40. There's some red decks that are very strong. So being able to destroy mountains, this is a hard card to cast because you already have to start with 3 blue to get anywhere with it, but it's cool. And it's worked a few times for me, and it's always been fun. All right. There's also certain restrictions. You can't just play all the power cards. Like, I'm playing with an Alpha Ancestral Recall. That means I can't play with, like, let's say, a Time Walk or a Brain Geyser. So you can pick one card from what certain groups that are called, like, Power or Draw. Ancestral is such a good card, I would say the best ever printed, that it counts for the Power group, which would be like, like a Time Walk type of card. I think what else is in the Power group? I have to think about it. And the Draw group, and the Draw group is like Time Twister, Brain Geyser, Wheel of Fortune, such and such. Anyways, Mind Twist I think is also, even though it's like not draw, it's anti-draw, but yeah. So there you go. So I also have an Ancestral in the deck. There's quite a few one-ofs in this deck, and I have a Copy Artifact in the deck, and that's primarily there to copy the 3 Icy Manipulators that are in my deck. So these 3 Icies, they come on the board, and I'll show you what they're used for. It's also good to copy the Chaos Orb, and it also works quite well to copy the Soul Ring. All right, so going through in order now, you'll see my deck has got 3 unsummons. I'm playing 3 unsummons in my deck. I'm playing the Soul Ring in my deck as well. Soul Ring is better than Sapphire in the deck I'm using right now. I have another deck that plays Merfolk, and I would say Sapphire is better in that deck than the Soul Ring. All right, then I'm running 6 Power Sinks. So 6 Alpha Power Sinks. Boom. And then what makes this all come together is the other card in the deck, Psychic Venom. Now you might, by the way, you might be going back, hey Peter, how are you playing 6 of a card in the deck? Well, in these 40 card formats, that's the Alpha 40, Unlimited 40, Revised 40, common cards, there's no restriction on the number. I think there might be an exception to that. I think Sinkhole is one of the cards that there's an exception because it's just too busted otherwise. But other common cards, there's no restriction on how many copies you can have. In Alpha, you can only have 3 copies of any rare. So you'll see I only have 3 Icies. Yeah, so there you go. That's how that works. And then regular cards, uncommons are 4. And then in this deck, I'm running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 copies of Psychic Venom. As a Psychic Venom deck or a Snakes deck. I don't know. I'm just going to check if everything's here in view. Sometimes I start yapping away and I can't really tell what I've... Yeah, okay, you can see most of it, right? There we go. Let's just see if... oops. Pardon. If anybody here is getting dizzy, I accept full responsibility for that. All right. So then you've got the islands to support it. And I'm going to be running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 islands. Okay. So 16 islands. Let's do a count on that. So it's 16. I said 11 of these, so that's 27 27, 30, 33, 33, 36, 39. I have too many cards. Like 40 is the minimum number of cards, but I'm clearly over. That's okay with me. It's not as tight of a deck as it could be. I found when I was dropping other things, it wasn't quite good enough. Dropping cards. So yeah, maybe I'm running one too many island here. I'd have to check. I might have also, by the way, added back a power sink, and now I was trying to think that, because I was trying to rebuild this deck, it's not the one I'm playing now. So maybe I added a power sink, and maybe I have 5 power sinks. So puts me a little closer, more like 42 or 43 cards at the moment. So the idea of this deck is, the greatest thing would be a turn 1 island Soul Ring. That would be really good. And then turn 2, you Psychic Venom 2 of their lands, or 1 land twice. I've learned from playing it that you have to see what the other person is playing out right away and decide, are you going for the strategy of, dropping one of these guys on all their lands, or are you trying to focus on one land, or a mix of both? Guys who are casting X spells at you, it's great to get all their lands. Then basically any damage spell they try to deal you does 2 to them for every 1 they'll do to you. That's automatically puts you in a good way. But if you see someone who's running land destruction, you don't want to pile them all up on one land either. You might have to distribute them out, because they can just, sinkhole their own land to get away from it. Or maybe if they have white, they have access to balance. If they have white, they probably have access to disenchant. They won't spend a disenchant probably on the Venom. They'll probably spend a disenchant getting rid of the Icy Manipulator or the Soul Ring, or, the Chaos Orb if you're tapped out. So it's been a very good deck. I find it's pretty consistent. You have to really play it a lot to figure out how to best play it. Copy Artifact is really good in this deck. An extra Icy is really great because it prevents them from being disenchanted, and you start really hammering them with damage. So you start putting the Psychic Venoms, and as soon as possible, you have to be very cautious. If you have more Venoms, you don't necessarily just play them out of your hand. You can hold back. You need to hold back for these power sinks. Because these power sinks, once things hit the board for them in this version of the deck, it's very hard to remove them. You only have like Volcanic Eruption and your Chaos Orb to get rid of creatures. Power sinking a spell is amazing because it stops that spell from being cast, and you usually deal them a bunch of damage. Unsummon is also good because if they've taken damage to cast something and you weren't able to counter it and it's a creature, you can put it back into their hand and then hopefully sink it the next turn. So this is kind of like how I was playing it. I said maybe I didn't. I think I had 6. I do think I had 6 of these. I think actually I might have only had 2 unsummons. So anyway, when I was actively playing it, I'll have to look back. These were probably interchangeable, and I'm not sure which one I was playing. It was like that. Since I finished that deck, I actually acquired some some Sonic Blast. And I think these would be really good in this deck because it's actually a very aggressive deck. And these will be great for removal for a creature that I can't deal with, and also really great just to get that extra damage and to finish somebody off. I'm just not convinced what I would take out, because the unsummons are really good in this deck. I'm not gonna lie, they are super, super good. So I don't know, I want to play all 3 of them because Psionic Blast is such a good card that I want them all in the deck. But maybe you guys who are watching can make a suggestion to me. What would you take out? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to count my islands again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think I have one too many islands. I actually do. I think that this is a 15 island deck, not a 16 island. So there's another card out. So I think I'm more close to 41 now. So my thought, what I would do personally is I would remove 1 unsummon, remove 1 power sink, and maybe remove a Venom. Okay, so it puts me at 10 Venoms. It's still a lot. I hope it's enough to play these 3 power sinks. The other card I could take out is potentially, maybe I could take out 1 Icy and just keep the Copy Artifact as a lower casting cost Icy. But however, having just a Copy Artifact is no, not compensation, but it's not comparable to actually having the Icy. If you don't have the Icy, the Copy Artifact might actually be the card I need to cut here. Actually, what am I saying? Yeah, the obvious cut is right here. This is Volcanic Eruption. It's fun, but I'm not convinced about it being amazing. So I would probably cut the Volcanic Eruption and run these guys instead. So that then takes me down to 5 of these, 2 of these. I keep the same number of Venoms because envenomating lands is extremely critical to the process, because that makes this really work, and it makes your mana short usually a good finisher, better finisher towards the end. The other card that sometimes I see people run in these decks is Drain Power, where it's 2 blue if I'm not mistaken, and you play it on your turn, and it basically empties the opponent's mana pool, taps their land, so I think it deals them damage as well. So it's a great spell like that, and you have to use the mana. So this is a mana burn format, and if you'll notice, this deck doesn't have a lot of high mana cost things to play out, except for an Icy. So I'm not sure about it, but I'm tempted to try that version. I might try that version. In that case, I might cut the copy artifact, play the Drain Power, and then that would be really, really cool to Drain Power and play out an Icy on one turn, on one single turn. That could be a really good use of it, of that mana. So tell me what you think, guys. If you have any suggestions, if you're playing Alpha 40 and stuff, or these 40 card formats, you probably already know some things about this. If it's new to you, maybe it's just kind of intriguing. I hope you enjoyed it. For me, it's just amazing to complete it, and now this whole deck is alpha, and I'm gonna cherish it and keep it for a very long time. All right, thanks again. I want to say thank you to all the people who are watching the videos. So many of you have subscribed recently. It's, when I see like the subscription thing happening in the day, I'm not gonna lie, it makes me kind of like happy, really, dudes. So I say dudes because I think I've looked at the analytics. There's potentially 0 to 1% women. If you are one of them, thank you also for subscribing. I want to be equal on that on that praise. Thank you. You make my day. It's a nice part of my day. I'm very lucky to be obviously in the situation to have these cards and to share them with you. And in all those types of ways, I feel lucky, and many others. So thanks again, and catch you all later. Bye for now.